This is something. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has been in the news as of recent because she doesn't hate anybody. Remember, she doesn't hate anybody. She had that little political theater moment where she doesn't hate anybody. Well, here's something. So impeachment still in the news, still happening, and I've said how for somebody. I think especially people around my age, it's hard to not just sort of roll your eyes at the idea of the impeachment process because you've only ever seen it be used just as a political football. I was pretty young when Clinton was happening, but I was at least cognizant of it. I wasn't really following politics at that point. I was in grade school, but I remember the circus that was. And then I remember George W. Bush, who, bona fide war criminal, lied us into an illegal war. Some people in politics were making the connections to impeachment, and they were just ignored. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't even hear it. Dennis Kucinich gave 35 articles for impeachment, and he was just ignored. He was just on the floor. Nobody was even watching the guy. So I remembered the circus that was Clinton, and then I remembered the apathy over impeaching George W. Bush. And now, of course, you see the circus that's going on now. So it's hard to have any respect for this process or to see it as something that upholds any kind of integrity. When you see the way it's just sort of batted around in our politics. Well, here's something Nancy Pelosi said recently that I think sort of supports that notion. Check this out. So let's get this situated here. Hold up. Started at the beginning.
So, Speaker Pelosi, you resisted calls for the impeachment of President Bush in 2006 and President Trump following the Mueller report earlier this year. This time is different. Why did you oppose impeachment in the past? And what is your obligation to protect our democracy from the actions of our president now?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the question about, because when I became Speaker the first time, there was overwhelming call for me to impeach President Bush on the strength of the war in Iraq, which I vehemently opposed. And again, I said at other places, that was my wheelhouse. I was intelligence. I was the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, even before I became part of the leadership of Gang of Four. So I knew there were no nuclear weapons in Iraq. It just wasn't there. They had to show us, they had to show the Gang of Four all the intelligence they had. The intelligence did not show.
So she's implying she knew all along there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And this is even when they lied us into it. When they swore that there were, and they went into Iraq, she's saying that all along she knew they weren't there. That's what she's claiming in this video. Okay, let's continue.
That was the case. So I knew it was a misrepresentation to the public. But having said that, it was in my view, not a ground for impeachment. They won the election. They made a representation, and to this day, people think that that it was the right thing to do. The people think that,
and by people, she means Rick Santorum,
Iraq had something to do with 9/11.
Who still thinks that? Who still thinks Iraq had something to do with 9/11? I'm sure some people out there do, of course. But so what is her point? Hey, some people are still being successfully lied to because of the Bush administration in cooperation with the corporate media and in cooperation with us just passively accepting this. She's saying, I knew all along there were no weapons of mass destruction, but I went along with the war anyway. And I didn't think that was grounds to impeach a president, deliberately lying us into an illegal war. All right, let's go on. And listen, this is, wow. All right.
I mean, it's appalling what they did. But I did, and I said, if somebody wants to make
it's appalling. It's appalling. She thought the war was appalling. All right, that's she doesn't hate anybody, even imaginary weapons of mass destruction, even war.
Forward, but they had impeached Bill Clinton for personal indiscretion and misrepresenting about it. Impeached him. Some of these same people are saying, "Oh, this doesn't rise to impeachment." were right there impeaching Bill Clinton for being stupid in terms of something like that. I mean, I love him.
She's
I
funny.
think he's a great president.
She's funny. She's hilarious. That was really funny. That was really funny. She just claimed that she knew all along Iraq was a huge lie. Just let it unfold anyway. Didn't speak out, didn't do anything. And didn't think that was grounds for impeachment when she was getting pressured to do so. Didn't think, knew it was all a big lie, but didn't think that was grounds for impeachment. Why? Well, because people were going along with it. An illegal war that has cost so many lives, Iraqi lives, U.S. lives, has cost so much money, but people were going along with it. And we had already impeached Clinton. I mean, come on. Come on. It's funny. This is good comedy. This is great. All right, let's see. There's still a minute and 11 seconds of this. She babbles on for another minute and 11 seconds. All right, let's see what else.
But being stupid in terms of that, and what would somebody do not to embarrass their family?
He was being stupid, guys.
And that's so they did Bill Clinton. Now they want me to do George. I just didn't want it to be a way of life in our country.
She didn't want it to be impeachment. We're supposed to take this seriously. We are supposed to take this seriously. Well, when it came to George W. Bush, a bona fide war criminal, I didn't want this to be a way of life. I mean, come on. They impeached Bill Clinton. That was a circus. I didn't want to go through it again with George W. Bush. I mean, sure, he lied us into an illegal war. Sure, like there were no, and I knew the whole time, by the way, apparently I knew the whole time. That's what I'm claiming now. And, but people were into it, you know? I mean, it's like, if the people are into it, I don't want to pop their bubble and be like, hey, there's no weapons of mass destruction and maybe we should impeach this guy. I don't want to be a buzzkill. But this time around, I mean, come on, now I'm on board. Maybe it's just every other time. You know, maybe it's just like, oh, come on, we can't impeach. All right, but this time, I'm down. This is a sacred process, by the way, the impeachment process. This upholds the values of our politics. But, you know, like when it comes to a war criminal, we don't want to make this a regular thing. Shrug, whatever. People were into it. We're supposed to respect this process and think that it is anywhere in the wheelhouse of justice at any point when you hear stuff like this. I mean, listen to what she's really admitting to. And the audience just laughs when she brings up that Bill Clinton was being stupid. I mean, this is real. Like this isn't... Even Lucy's bailing. She's like, yeah, this is just too much. This is too much. I'm getting my passport. This is ridiculous. I'm taking a vacation. That's what Lucy's doing.
As far as the Mueller report, there was a good deal of the academics said, and 1,000 legal experts wrote a statement that said the Mueller report is what's in there is an impeachable offense. It wasn't so much of what's in the Mueller report will be more clear once some of the court cases are resolved, but it wasn't so clear to the public. The Ukraine just removed all doubt. It was self-evident that the president undermined our national
She doesn't know. She doesn't know. She doesn't know where her talking points are. Well, it's very clear that the president, he did something. He did something. The president definitely did something. Are you going to speak out about the military budget that you guys gave him, even though, you know, he said he was going to be a non-interventionist? No. I went along with that one. Are you going to talk about the Patriot Act where it's like now he has the Patriot Act again and that's, you know, incredibly dangerous? No. I went along with that too. I was fine with that. Are you going to talk about how he preemptively bombed Syria? No. I was cool with that. But he did obstruction of justice, something. I'll get there eventually. Let's see if she got there. Did she get her talking point straight? I'm sure she did. But here we go.
Jeopardize the integrity.
Jeopardize. That's what I was looking for. Oh, yeah.
Violated his oath of office.
Jeopardize the integrity of our elections. That's always the best. The integrity of our elections that have easily hackable machines that don't have any accountability to anyone at any point, especially in the state of Florida, that have superdelegates, that have gerrymandering, that have the Electoral College, the integrity of those elections. We got to preserve that integrity. That's what it is. And the president on a phone call to the Ukraine, that we've all seen that transcript so many times at this point. The president. Oh, let's see. There's 5 more seconds of this.
There's just that's something that cannot be ignored.
Cannot be ignored. Cannot be ignored. What can we ignore? War crimes. We can ignore that. We can ignore war crimes. That's no biggie. That's so big. That's people are into it. Come on. Iraq, that I could ignore. This phone call to the Ukraine, that I couldn't ignore. That's what I couldn't ignore. Wow. That's unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing the amnesia we live in. I mean, she's just admitting it right there. She's just like, yeah, you know, Iraq, that I could ignore. That wasn't a big. I mean, they just impeached Clinton. Come on, it's what are you gonna do? But this phone call to the Ukraine, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Now, as far as Trump's actual corruption, a lot of that I'm complicit with, so we won't bring that up. We won't bring that up. By the way, while we were doing this big circus and I was having my big talking moment about how I was taught not to hate people, I'm so holier than thou. While we were doing that, Trump was taking food stamps away from 750,000 people. He's putting kids in cages. He's letting the dreamers down. I mean, all these corrupt, but so much of that I'm complicit in. So we won't talk about Trump's actual corruption and the fact that Trump is the face of the GOP. And the fact that we have 2 parties in this country, a right-wing party and a neo-fascist party, and you're supposed to pick one, and if you don't, you're the problem. We won't talk about that because I'm complicit in all that stuff. I'm Nancy Pelosi. That stuff has made me rich beyond comprehension. But man, we can't ignore this phone call to the Ukraine. It's not like it's something you can brush off like war crimes or an illegal war in Iraq. That's literally what she said in this segment. We're supposed to take this seriously. We're supposed to take her seriously as a leader. And this is why when I hear people discussing all this stuff, like as if there's some modicum of integrity in any of it. It's like watching astrophysicists discuss professional wrestling and not realizing that it isn't real. Like not realizing that it's fake. It's because that's what this is at this point. This is professional wrestling. Oh, we can't. If only this was somebody. If Donald Trump just started an illegal war, I could have brushed that off. But it was a phone call to the Ukraine, and then it ended up one of our own got called out. You know, Hunter Biden got called out. We can't have that. One of our own. When one of our own's affected. You know, that's Nancy Pelosi. She's a great leader, by the way. That's the leader of the opposition to the Republicans. That's again right-wing party, neo-fascist party. That's what we got, and we're supposed to take this stuff seriously. That's wow. Sometimes it writes itself, folks. Sometimes it writes itself.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on?